go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones. All right, this is the Talk Beat Jones, and I am Billy E. Jones, and we want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. And take the time and call your friends and let them know that guy, that show, that program, that's our show, family. It's your program. It's a time that you can take time, kick back, relax, tell your friends, let's get ready to have this thought. What are they going to talk about today? They're going to talk about something that's going to be of interest to you, things that's happening. And remember, we do have a telephone line that you can call. You can talk to me live all around the world. We're working out of the Virgin Islands studios today. That number is 313-365-7379. Once again, call me at 313-365-7379. We also have another number that's 313-365-7327. And that number I see is going to be hot, so we're going to lock that number in. And remember, Talk Beat Jones, we're on the air every Wednesday from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. You can also view the Talk Beat Jones on Sundays. That's on 15.2 at 4 p.m. And, of course, on the R.J. Watkins page, YouTube TV 33 on demand. And, again, we're there for you all around the world. And we love you. And again, talk to your friends, like us, and of course, share us. And again, we got a call? Okay. We're sitting here and I was thinking I had a call over there. But right now, I have a thought. What's on your mind? What is on your mind today? It's getting close to that special day. But what's on your mind? Is politics on your mind? Is social things that's going on your mind? Is things in your private life on your mind? See, you can go through any particular things that is happening in your world, because what we're trying to do is let you understand on the Talk Beat Jones, the opinions that come through, and it's yours, it's the most valuable opinion, period, because it's your thought, it's your feeling, it's your interpretation of what you feel about whatever is happening in life. So if you take the time, if you choose to take the time and you want to join us on a Wednesday and you see us and we give you that telephone line or lines, you can call and we can talk and you can express yourself, and that conversation will go all around the world, family, because that's the way we work this on the Talk Beat Jones. Also, before I start, we're doing that Jonesicide Zoom. Now, Jonesicide Zoom is the fitness program. It's the fitness part of my life. For those who don't know, I've been a fitness expert ever since the 1970s, and we're still getting back into that particular part of the life. One of the things that encouraged me is my own particular self. I've lost about almost 40 pounds doing my Jonesicide Zoom and gotten toned and gotten fit. See, you have to love yourself enough to stop doing things that's not working. You have to love yourself in order to feel, I may have lost that step, but I can regain at least a half of that step that I lost. You got to be willing to love yourself and look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. You have to be able to raise your arms and use your legs and your feet and be honest with yourself. Do they feel good? Do they have problems? Are those problems things that's occurring in your body that you can, you can kind of change it up? Does it mean that you can make it completely go away? Can you make a complete change? Not necessarily, but can you make it better? Can you make it greater, better than it is today? Yes, you can, by applying yourself, applying love to you. And that's what I will do to help you on the Jones Side Zoom. Now, it's designed right at this point where I have a program going right now on Fridays and Saturdays. I'm in Detroit. So when I say 12 o'clock, I'm speaking of 12 o'clock time. But if you're in California, the West Coast, it'll be a 9 o'clock class. That's on a Friday and Saturday. And for those persons say, Billy, I'm kind of want something that I want to do strictly by myself. You can contact me. I can work that out for you by Zoom as well, to work you one-on-one. Or if there's a group of you who want a group program, 10, 20, I can do that as well on the Jones Side Zoom. You say we have a call now? Okay, caller, we're going to start with you. Would you step on into the Talk Beat Jones zone? You're live.
Hello?
Hello, talk to me.
I can barely hear you. Can you adjust on your end?
Okay, I can hear you now. Fine. Talk to me.
All right. I can barely hear you, but I don't know what you want me to talk to you about because I didn't hear anything that you said.
Okay, that's great. Now here's what you're doing. You're okay. Now here's what you're doing now, is that you are introducing yourself, and once again, we are continuing with this information that you are bringing that is right up to date. Now, you are Mr. Leo Brazile. You are a retired lawyer for over 35 years. You are an original Black Panther, back with Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, etc. You are a city council, past city council person. And I can go on, but right at this point, I just want to give them a little meat of who you are. And you said that you have been following the Donald Trump trial. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in following the Donald Trump trial, then you see all of these stations, they give their perspective. They have their panels, etc., that give the perspective to the people as to how they see and how they view and what they can expect to come out of this President Donald Trump's trial.
Right.
You are the expert. I won't play with it. I'll ask questions from a layman's perspective. I'll give you a layman's idea of what we see, what I see. But you are the expert. So I'm asking you, sir, what do you see at this point with the Supreme Court and with the Stormy Daniels trial testimony and with the fact that they have delayed this other trial indefinitely? I'm going to turn it to you. Pick whatever subject you want to start with, and you work it, Mr. Leo Brazile. And then don't forget, in Detroit, they're talking about doing, setting up the reparations, etc. You are already a part of the reparations committee, so we want to touch on that as well. So, Mr. Leo Brazile, hit us up.
Okay, well, I guess I'll have to throw in one more credential. I have a political science degree from Stanford University, so I'm going to be speaking more as a political scientist, but I got to bring in the judiciary because that's one of the questions that you asked me to explain. All of the stuff that's happening with respect to the judiciary, that's the third branch of government, the courts. That's a whole nother step ladder that would take days for people to understand. But the good thing about it from a political science point of view is that we're getting, at long last, an extensive look into the judiciary. So people are confused rightfully because they don't understand how the court system works. And Trump has an all-star team of people who understand the judiciary system and are using it to the max, the same way that O.J. Simpson used it because he had such an outstanding battery of lawyers who could play that beyond the reasonable doubt thing to the max. In this case, law is broken in two ways. In criminal law, you have to show the action, that is the act, and then you have to show what they call a mens rea, that is the mental state. What was your intent? Trump is playing the intent
And
right now in his trial because they got to show that he was involved in this conspiracy that they're unfolding, that he was somehow connected to it. But in the meantime, he's playing what he's always been playing, and that is the procedural side of the law. The procedural side of the law says that you are entitled to due process. So any kind of legal question you can raise, the courts have to rule on it. And if they rule on it, you can appeal. Then you go up to the appellate court. Then you can go to the next appellate court. Then you can go to the Supreme Court. And each one of those courts have to schedule you in, and therefore they can delay. So he's played the delay game for all of these years with his experts.
Okay, so
now the delay is over in New York, and they are in trial. So the procedural part of it is being challenged because this woman came in and testified that she had, some situations that the judge didn't think should be in there. So they immediately procedurally moved for a mistrial, and he ruled against them. So now that's appealable.
Now, hold back just a moment, sir. For us who are just a little bit slow. So by this witness coming to the stand and making some statements that was a bit more than what they were asking her in terms of her testimony, the judge has said that that's a bit much, and the defense attorney has objected, and because of this there's a procedure that they later can appeal on the basis of this witness testimony. Is that somewhat true?
Yeah. See, what happens is, like I said, you have this procedural right to go up the ladder. But once you get into trial, there's only two things, the law and your due process. Your due process then is guarded by the judge. But your lawyers, and this is where Trump's lawyers made their mistake, or maybe they're throwing us into an appeals trap. They did not object.
Now we go to break and come right back.
Talk B. Jones.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is R.J. Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you, because healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat.
Generational wealth. No risk, no reward. All entrepreneurs, get yours personalized with your business's name or logo. Order yours today. Go to our website, generationalwealthforlife.com, or call 313-220-9433. That's 313-220-9433. Generational wealth. No risk, no reward.
You know what it is, generational wealth.
Have to go anywhere because this is the Talk B. Jones.
All right, we're back with the Talk B. Jones. Once again, I am Billy E. Jones, and we're going to try to get this telephone situation here and all the things all situated. Leo, are you there? Oh, he hung up? Okay. So there is something with the telephone system happening today, and So we're trying to work into Mr. Leo Brazil because, again, let's see if we can get him. Mr. Leo Brazil, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay. Let's go back into where you were. Let's preset them, and we were talking about the how they're setting up potentially to get an appeal.
Okay, well, see, the appeals thing comes about if the judge allows something to come in that shouldn't be allowed to come in, then you have a right to appeal. But in your court situation where you're actually in a trial, you have to object. And they did not object when this stuff was coming in, and so procedurally they were out of line. It was allowed to come in. But it got to the point where the judge thought it was going to be a real appealable thing, and he had to say something to protect his butt. So that's why he stood up and said, "What's wrong with you guys? Don't you haven't raised any objection on this? I'm going to raise it and put it to rest because I don't want this to say that I made an error. You guys have just made an error." And he acknowledged that on the record. He says, "I will instruct the jury to clean this up before they go back in to deliberate. I will give them an instruction to tell them that what was said back there when these guys didn't object, ignore that in your deliberation."
Now, in that procedure that the judge is actually reaching across to the defense saying that you guys were supposed to object, you didn't, so I'm going to make it a point to let people know that I know that there should have been an objection to some of this testimony. Is that what he's doing?
Yes.
And will this give the attorneys the ability to file the appeal based upon just on that area of conversation from the bench right there?
I can't hear you, Billy.
I said
that loud noise came back on
temporarily. So I was asking, does this give the attorneys for Donald Trump the ability to make an appeal based upon the...
Yes. It's going to happen, but when the appeals court looks at it, they're going to say it's not the judge's fault. He pointed out that the lawyers didn't object, and he gave the jury the instructions to ignore that. Now, we have to assume that the jury did ignore it if they found him guilty.
But still, this was something that will be based upon an appeal, and that you just said is something that would have to be taken up by the appeal procedure, correct?
Yeah, but the appeal won't take place until after the trial is over.
Okay.
And and when it gets to the appeals court can turn it over because the judge allowed this information to come in. That's the normal procedure. The judge says, I allowed it to come in because I had to wait for somebody to object. Since y'all didn't object, I am put in a situation where the appeals court might turn around and say, well, it was my fault. So I'm clearing up the record and saying to the jury, don't ignore what she said about being in the garage and everything that has nothing to do with the case about the documents that we're trying to prove.
And based upon the appeal, is the appeal a group of judges, or is this just one judge to make that decision?
I can't hear you.
Is there a single judge that makes that decision, or is this by committee?
Yeah, well, when you go up to appeals, the appeals court can have one judge listen to it and overturn it, or they can have three judges. In most instances, they have three judges. And those three will decide the appeal. And if they then are appealed from, you go to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is the final court. So that's one lane that they laid out there to go down that lane, and the judge is now saying, okay, we're back into the trial where you 12 people are going to make this decision, and now the second day of this lady's going to come in and testify today, and I'm sure that the prosecution has told her, if you can answer a question yes or no, answer it yes or no. Do not elaborate, because you put something in there that we find acceptable, but the other side should have objected and they didn't. So don't let them trap you like this.
Okay, but the trap is already
very short in her answers on cross-examination.
Okay, but it seems that the trap has already been sprung open. In that,
there will be an appeal, Billy.
that's what I'm saying.
But
So
again, let's not go into all these details about these trials and everything right now, because that's just too much law. Let's go over to the political science point of view that we have to put into this. And
okay,
it's understanding the whole issue of reparations and how legislation works and so forth.
okay, but here's the deal.
Because
Here's the deal, Mr. Leo Brazil. There's some things that's sexy by conversation, and there's some things like a course that I don't want to hear that course. I don't want to take that course. We want to take the parts that's sexy that people want to hear you make it sexy, and only you can make that sexy in terms of the conversation that you're going to bring us. So, Mr. Leo Brazil, educate me, educate us, and make it sexy.
Well, again, the reparations issue is one where we are talking about a damage that the United States government has committed, and it's in this case against black people. So in order to show the damage, you first of all have to collect the evidence. And that's what the Reparations Commission out here in California is doing. We are collecting the evidence of discrimination by the California government against black people in California since 1848.
Okay. Now,
and once that evidence is gathered, then you can go into court and present it in a civil action against the government.
Mr. Leo. Now, I understand what you're doing, etc., but here's where we are. We've explained the procedures before in about 2 shows. We've gone through that. So we don't want to have to go through a whole reparation education at this point. We spoke about when everything is set up and all the information has been gathered, what is the results? How long would it take? And I think that you mentioned that it's going to take another 400 years, etc. So what is the process for us that are living today and our children today? What do we have to look forward to in terms of this word reparation committee, that the result is going to take so many hundreds of years from what I heard, and I'm hoping that I heard incorrectly. I understand that the Detroit has or is putting together a reparation committee as well.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, are there other cities or other states that have reparation committees that are already entrenched? And as these reparation committees are being put together in these different areas, are there some type of connectability where you're sharing the development of the gathering of the information, or is it partial by segments of different groups in different areas? I got mine, you got yours, and we will proceed in that fashion. How does that work? Do you have an idea, sir?
Well, you're dealing with 400 years of history that you're trying to cover, and so facts have to be gathered by region or by area, because you don't know. The same thing didn't happen in Michigan that happened in California. Same thing didn't happen in California that happened in New Jersey.
Okay.
The same thing didn't happen in New Jersey that happened in Illinois. In all of these areas, New Jersey, California.
Hold on. Question, Leo. Leo, question. Is he still on? Okay, well, it's no sense. Okay. Family, let me do this. Let me throw out a public apology for the system. We're going through the live broadcast, and it is live, as you see, that we are moving through the technical issues. So bear with us and understand that we're going to continue in the direction that we're headed. picking you up again. Leo Brazil, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. But
Okay, don't worry about it, Leo. Just continue to talk on what you're doing. I don't have the time to background on what the problem is.
you call the French. You remember when Sékou Touré, when he kicked the French out of Guinea, they turned off all the telephones and the electricity and everything else and went back to Paris, and he had to call them back to come back to this country to show them how to turn on the telephone. So y'all need to call the French.
Go. Hold on. Yo, Leo Brazil said I'm supposed to call you. Can you come by? I'll see you in 400 years. All right, thank you. All right, Leo. So continue.
That's exactly where we are. So I'm sorry that you want an instant response, but we can't give you an instant response because we got 400 years of history that's got to be covered. That's why your boy Conyers, when he put this bill in, after Reparations Ray asked him that question about what can we do about the repairing the damage done to the people in Detroit, he put in House Resolution 40 for 12 years before he got somebody to salute it. He would be so proud to know that we are saluting this all over the country, but we're not saluting it in Washington anymore because the Republicans are in charge of the House, and they haven't put the next step of the National Reparations Committee that was proposed. So each one of the states then have gone out on their own, and various cities have gone out on their own and started reparations committees. And I'm so glad to hear that Detroit is joining the fight now. Now, whether or not they're all connected, they will never be connected until the national bill, because you have two citizenships. You have state citizenship and you have national citizenship. The national citizenship remedy that would connect them all together has been stifled by the Republicans. But each one of the states in the meantime can go under their state constitutions and start gathering the information of harm done to black people by their government.
Oh man. You know this. You know I'm listening, and I'm saying okay. It takes a bit of the gusto out of it for me. It really do.
Of course it takes it out, but again, our ancestors would look at us and say, y'all a bunch of punks, because we went through all this for all these years to suffer for you to be where you are today, and now you telling me, oh, I got to have instant tea.
No. You putting no.
So I can go down and buy.
No. You're putting instant tea into some person saying, yes, God says basically a human will live X amount of years per se. And to say that a person is expected to wait 400 more years to get an answer, it's like, I'm not really feeling that. And that's not instant. That's not even long. That's not, well, hold on, partner. That's not even long term. That's not even in a lifetime. That's not even, but that's not a lifetime. So here's where I am with that. Here's where I am with that.
A punk-ass generation that has come along, and I'm sorry for y'all. I'm on the way out of here, and I just don't see these Negroes today as being anything like their ancestors, and have sold them out because they want instant gratification. The struggle continues. You do whatever the next step is in the 100-yard dash, you got to do it. Okay, shave off 10, 20 yards and decide I want to run. We have been running for 400 years, and we maybe only got to the 50-yard line, but we got 50 yards to go. And your generation that's out there need to keep going, and that's all I can say. If you're telling me it's over because everybody
no, you
you're
misunderstood there, sir. You misunderstood there. The importance of reparation is very, very obvious. It's very, very obvious. It is something that we have worked diligently hard to get, because there are people who didn't even understand the word and what it meant to talk about reparation. Okay? So that's not the point. The point is saying, wow, I thought that I'd have some information during my lifetime. And you say instant. I say, well, okay, that's not instant. That's my desire to have knowledge. I don't want to be ignorant. I want to have knowledge. Apparently, the knowledge is not going to come in my lifetime. So what is my attention now is, my attention is saying we need to focus and got to focus right at this point on the election that is coming up, because that is happening in our lifetime, and the election that's coming up is going to make a change in our lifetime. So the focus is, while we have the reparation committees coming up with this great information that's going to come in a certain lifetime, that is happening right now, we need to focus. There is so many things going on. That was the point, sir, is that in our lifetime, what is the biggest thing that's happening to us right now as a people? As a people, it is this election that is coming up right now. That's where our focus is. That's where we need to be. All of us, where things are saying you can't come together on that, even on the reparations, you can't come together because you got to find it. This is that parse meal, that's that parse meal, that's the parse meal. Fine, great. But on this election that's coming up, wherever you are, we as a people need to have an ability to come together and make things work for us.
And that's why we are where we are today, 400 years later. We haven't ever come together for those 400 years. It did everything to keep us divided.
Isn't that wait a minute, but isn't that a part of your generation's fault? But isn't that a part of your generation's fault? But isn't that a part of your generation's fault?
Everybody's fault up until today.
But I'm saying, but isn't that a part of your generation's fault? You were saying this generation is so into the instance. I'm saying, but what about your generation? What did they do, and what are they doing in terms of?
One of the things we did that I'm proud of, I have to go back to my days of activism when I was in college, is that we stopped you from calling yourself Negroes and got you to see that you were black, because we needed the lowest common denominator. And because you're black, and accept that now, it took us 40 years for you to finally get to that point where you stop straightening your hair and lightening your face and doing all these other kind of things to look like somebody that you're not.
Well, hold on. They're still doing that?
You finally accepted who you are. And that's one step forward. That's what our generation did.
Okay.
Now, the next generation, that's yours or anybody else, because I'm 81 years old. So that generation, where y'all going to take it, I don't know. But you're taking it to a good step, because they wouldn't even talk about the concept of reparation.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. We got a little squeal going here. Must be something in the mouse.
What did y'all touch?
What did we touch? We touched that guy that you said.
Something, man.
Anyway, stay where you are. So you are now with the generations in terms of what the accomplishments of the generations, and that's what we're speaking of. And I'm saying
this generation needs to get on reparations.
No, bro. This generation right now needs to get on what we can make a difference in our lifetime right now. We've got hold on. We got the folks. We've got our elders. We've got our elders who are on the reparation committees who are dealing with that. We have those folks who are dealing with the reparations. We are great. We are grateful.
Right.
So we're grateful. So now we also have the ability to focus on what's important to us now, because we got folks who are dealing with the reparations, getting the facts, getting the information, gathering it up, going to be able to pass it on from another generation to another generation. They're doing that. What is in our face right today that we can make a difference? What is it? It is the election that is coming up. It is the information, and how can we as a people, and when I say as a people, I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about us as a people join together in this election to get the best option that's available.
Coming up in November is the most important. I don't know in Detroit, that's important there, but the local election. But here In California, we have different local elections. But for all of us as a people and as a nation, white, black, brown, or whatever, November is the death of democracy. Democracy means everybody has a say-so. There's inclusion, and people can all have their votes and sit around the table and vote on policy issues. Trump is telling you after this election there will be no more free elections, because if he wins, he is going to become a dictator. And so the 400 years is all in vain, because the dictator is now in charge, and he's telling you, I don't like you if you're a Democrat. I don't like you if you're a Republican that is a Republican in name only. And I'm going to take the United States government that you guys put together 200 years ago, and I am going to jail all of my opponents the same way they do in China. Now, if you want that, then vote for it in November and vote Trump. If you don't want that, vote Biden, because those are only two choices you got. If you ain't up to Biden or what's the name, you're giving your vote to the other side, and you're sitting on the sideline. Either way, democracy is done. And that's what democracy means. Everybody has a vote. And what have they been doing to us, particularly as black people, for the last 400 years? Preventing us from voting in every way they can. They're doing it in Tennessee right now, and they're doing it in Arkansas. And
Wait.
Give us the right to vote.
Wait. Explain to us when you say they're doing it in Tennessee, etc. What are they doing in Tennessee?
They got two young brothers that are in the legislature, and they stood up and tried to talk about gun violence. And the Tennessee legislature shut them down, told them to shut up their mouth. And they stood up and said, no, you can't tell me to shut up. I got a right to talk about it. And they voted to kick them out. So when they kicked them out of the legislature, they went back home and got back on the ballot, and the people reelected them and sent them back to the Capitol and said, keep on talking, brothers, and they're still there now.
Hold on. That little creaky come back in, and we'll adjust it and see if we can't get the baby out of the waters here. So just bear with us. We almost get this working just fine. Hold on, Leo. Just hold on. We're going to get this, because, again, you're hitting some very excellent points, perspective in terms of what we need to do and how we got to do this. And, of course, this political situation, it's one that it's life-changing, potentially. It's life-changing, potentially. So for folks are saying Trump is rough, but Biden, I'm not really feeling Biden. It's not like you have all of these other choices.
I can barely hear you.
If you got terrible situations going on, and you got two terrible situations, and you say, well, okay, but you don't have a choice. You got to choose one of the terrible situations. What is it? What is it? If you got two presidential, don't worry about it. If you got two presidential election folks, and both of them is not good to you, but one of them has to win. One of them has to win. They say, well, you have to take the less of the two evils. The less of the two evils. What is it? What is it? If you don't find pleasure in either of the candidates, which candidate is going to hurt you the greatest? Which candidate potentially has the ability to work with you? Those are the decisions you have to look, and you have to look and say, well, I'm not feeling them. I'm just not feeling them, but I'm not going to vote. Well, why? Why? You're going to let everyone else and anyone else put the person of the two evils, going to pick it for you? Going to pick the person that's of the two. They say, I don't care, just take that one. And as we're saying, what do you feel about the Democratic process that is practiced in the United States of America?
It's over with.
Explain why it's over with.
Because Trump has told you, if I win and I'm going to be a dictator. If I lose, then I'm going to say the election is fake and not real. And so my 77 million people are going to do everything they can to destroy the democratic system. Well, the democratic system is over because the democratic system, the foundation of it is the rule of law. The rule of law. He's already showed you he don't care about the law. The law will not rule him. He says that whatever you do, I am not going to accept it. I'm going to dictate that this election was no good, and therefore I have distrust in the electoral system, and I'm in court, destroying the court right now. I don't care what that judge tells me. Every time he tells me I'm going to put a gag on you, I say, to hell with you, judge. And the judge says, oh, Lord, he got me in a bind.
Because I really
want to maintain the rule of law and order. I got to send this fool to jail.
No.
I sent Billy and Leo to jail for doing this stuff, and Trump is saying, "Yeah, but you ain't gonna send me to jail because my people gonna get out here and riot and do whatever." In other words, I've destroyed the rule of law, and we got to reinstitute the rule of law in November. Otherwise, we're done. It's over.
And so just like he is putting that threat into the court of saying, listen, you are talking about putting me in jail. Guess what? That's what I want, Judge. That's what I want. Because then you're going to see the for real power of the people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to do. And I've already set things in motion for all of the groups, to make your preparation, to make all hell break loose, and to put the people who are in office, you want to scare the heck out of them as well.
They already did it on January 6th, right? They stormed the Capitol.
Hold on.
Stormed the Capitol.
And so now that was a fraction of his people, a fraction of the people.
Right.
Now,
It's
wait,
going
now,
to happen in every state legislature where my people are. They're going to attack Sacramento. They're going to attack Lansing. They're going to attack Tallahassee or wherever your capital is. My folks are coming big time if y'all deny me my election.
So what do we do? And as you know, anything.
Well, it's too late to arm yourself because they're already armed. They've been arming, and they attacked with their arms back in 1860, and they're going to do it again here in America because that's what he's threatening. If you don't let me in office, my people are going to start a civil war.
So now, how do you think that some of the weak-kneed folk are going to vote?
All I know is that the only chance that's in front of us is to turn out in big numbers in these states and vote against Donald Trump. But, because you'd already laid out, there's only two choices. Well, what do you got Tim Scott, who's trying to beat Trump's vice president? Would they ask him, will he accept the election if they lose? All I know is, so if you got a black man from South Carolina that's Tommen like that, I don't know what is going to happen to make Republicans ever admit that the Democrats fairly won the election. Trump is telling you, I'm on trial right now. This is an unfair trial, right? Because all these New York Democrats are on this jury, and no matter what, they're going to come against me. So they ain't coming against me. I'm just a symbol. What they're coming against is you all. And you got to fight to save your democracy that your white forefathers put together for you to rule as superior white people. And guess what? They went there on January 6th, and they're going to go wherever they're going to go if they don't win in November. And the governors of each of these states are going to have to send their troops to the subways like the governor of New York has sent the National Guard to the subways to try to deal with the so-called crime problem. Well, when these patriots that have been trained in the military, you know that boy that blew up that building in Oklahoma? He was a trained military guy. Well, they got bunches of them out there. In fact, of the people that's in jail for January 6th, many of them were former military people. And all the Proud Boys and I can't remember all the names of them, but all of them will be in the forefront of coming into your communities and gunning you brothers down. What you going to do then? America's done. It's finished. The democracy is over. The Noble experiment turned out to be an explosive one, and it was noble that we tried to have a democracy, but we're going back to dictators because dictators will bring law and order to the situation, and the law ain't going to be in our favor, just like it's not right now.
So you see, that's why I say the most important thing for us to function and to unite is right about now.
This is it.
That's
this
it.
is the time. We've been sleepwalking for 400 years, and as soon as we start raising our issues like reparations, they say, "Oh no, we had enough of this. We'd had enough of this diversity and equity and inclusion and everything. We'd had enough. You got these white Christian nationalists. Who are they? They say Jesus is white. And all you people that jump up and talk about you ain't going to follow our white Jesus, you say, well, we've been following your white Jesus for 400 years, waiting for him to come back, and he ain't come back to get y'all off our necks. So we got to change this. We got to become Muslims, or we got to become something. And so, boy, they just see, they look on their television, they see all these black faces in all these commercials, Chinese and everybody else. They say, oh, well, America, that's the America who we want. They say, no, that ain't the America we want.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let's go a little touchy.
Excuse me.
During the time that President Obama was the president, this thing that we're undergoing now in America, did you feel something that was going on in America concerning the fact that we had a black president presiding over all folks in America? Yet we had, during his time, we had the effect of Donald Trump chirping at Obama.
Not chirping, screaming out. He's African. He's not an American citizen. He's not legitimate.
So now we see
the birthers. Remember, that's how Trump came out, as a birther.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what
he took advantage of the backlash that always comes when blacks make progress. There's always going to be a white backlash, and as soon as Obama's term was up, the backlash came in the form of Donald Trump, lying every day out there. He still hadn't admitted that Barack Obama was an American citizen born in the USA. And they elected him because they came out in record numbers to take America back, make America great. When? Again. When was it ever great? Oh, back when white was the thing, when white supremacy ruled the land, and white supremacy still rules the land. That's why you watch and see, don't these white women vote for their brothers, their uncles, and their daddies, and their kinfolks, even though they're going to say, oh, well, I don't like the idea of the abortion thing and everything. I'm hoping that women are not going to be foolish and let them take over your bodies again.
Now,
we shall see. All this is dovetailing into November.
Now, here's the other.
Find out who's who.
Okay.
And Trump is going to let you know who he's going to punish. And he's telling you, women, we don't care if you die on the operating table or in the driveway of the hospital. You are going to go back under white male thumbs.
Now, Leo, question here: did this something that's occurring encourage the other folks to embolden themselves, because everyone was saying, guess what? America population will no longer be dominated by white folk.
Right. This is your last chance.
So in doing that, has this emboldened them to say, we will not necessarily be able to control America through the ballot box,
Through democracy.
through democracy. Therefore, we have to do what?
Overthrow the government.
Thank you.
The government is a democratic government. Means that the people decide, not the oligarchy or the autocrats or whatever. The people decide. We, the people of the United States.
However, the person that saw this and could unite those forces to say, hey, guess what? If we don't take control, we are going to lose control.
I am your retribution.
Who said that?
Trump. He's already told you. He ain't hiding nothing. That's what I like about it. They ain't hiding nothing. They're telling you what they are going to do.
So you're speaking of like back in the day when we had the North and the South folks was respected because they let you know who they were, what they thought of you, and how they treated you was out front, as opposed to the North being more hidden about their feelings. Is that somewhat correct?
That's absolutely correct. We were talking down south in those days. Now, up south, anything south of the Canadian border, Malcolm X told you, is the South. And that's exactly what happened, because just like the blacks left Alabama and Mississippi and everything, came up to Detroit and Chicago and every place, so white folks came with them, a lot of them. And they're still up here in Ohio and all those swing states. There's about 6 states that if they can win those 6 states, they're going to win the election, because the election is decided by the Electoral College and not by the popular vote. Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary by 3 million people. But he's the president because he won in those key states. And Joe Biden came back and beat him in those states, and that's where he's now attacking. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Florida. If he can win about 6 of those states, because he's going to win Alabama and Mississippi and all these other places by a handful. Arizona is maybe in play because of the women's issue, but I doubt that, because I'm telling you, I don't trust white women any more than I trust white men, because they are going to vote for white supremacy.
So you feel that the women will vote against the control,
their own interests.
That's what I'm saying about their bodies, controlling their own bodies,
right?
In order to just say, I'm with Trump.
For 400 years, they was allowing men to control their bodies, right? It's like we was put down for 400 years, and now they get a chance to make some progress because they didn't get a chance to vote until 1919, so they ain't been voting that long, and so they say, well, as long as I be able to wear my pretty dresses and go to the balls and everything, I'm willing to allow my brothers and my daddy and them to take charge. And when your daddy rapes you and you got a pregnancy that you don't want, then you got to have that baby to term and keep your mouth shut.
Well, you know, it's
back in the kitchen.
Well, you know, that's one way to look at it. But at some terms, you know, we have these situations where there's a pregnancy in which the fetus has been determined that they're going to be they're going to have so many different problems, issues, that they're not going to have a life, and that fetus should be terminated. And there's times where there's a fetus that's growing, that's a problem, and it's putting the mother's life on the line. And they're still saying you still can't terminate that pregnancy. You see, there are other terms in terms of the ladies and their lives being determined. Is it going to be the baby, or is it going to be you? I mean, it's so many things with a lady and her body and a baby situation that they've taken out the ability to protect the mother, because the mother is first. But you start putting it in somebody else's hand and say, well, I'm really worried about where we are and where we're headed, in that we have so many people that are using the ability to be ignorant to understanding what is really, really going on. Leo, give me your closeout real quick.
Well, this has been an interesting conversation. I hope before next week you get in touch with the French and have them fix the phone for you, man. Because
all right, we're going to let you go. I'm going to call
we
it.
got to take care of this technology, man. This ain't no joke.
All right.
We got to get it together.
All right,
We got to be first class all the way.
All right, well, hopefully we'll be back into our main studio next week. But anyway, thank you, Leo. Talk to you soon. Appreciate
All
your
right, brother.
perspective,
God bless
expert. All right, brother. Love you now. Family, this has been the Talk B. Jones, and appreciate you being with us. Remember, we're on the air every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11. Tell your friends. We're also on the air on a Sunday on 105.2, 4 p.m. We love you, appreciate you. Tell your friend, like us, share it. See you soon next week. Bye now.
Talk B. Jones.
Well,